You've probably heard someone say this before. My knees can tell when a storm is coming. Or maybe you've said it yourself. For decades, that idea was often brushed off by the younger generation, and even some in the medical community as an old wives' tale. Something people felt, but science couldn't quite explain. But here is the truth that modern physiology is finally catching up with. There is real, measurable science behind why joint pain often gets worse when the weather turns cold or stormy. And for those of us over 60, these changes aren't just in our heads, they are in our biology. Let's start with the barometer. As a storm approaches, barometric pressure, the weight of the atmosphere around us, drops. This drop is the key. You see, that atmospheric pressure normally helps keep our tissues slightly compressed, like a gentle, invisible hug from the air itself. When that pressure drops, the tissues inside your body are suddenly allowed to expand. Think of it like this. Imagine a balloon sitting inside a small, sturdy box. When the air pressure inside that box is high, it keeps the balloon small. But if you suck the air out of the box, the balloon subtly expands to fill the space. Inside our joints, the knees, the hips, the knuckles, that expansion can increase pressure on nearby nerves and sensitive tissues. In a younger body, where cartilage is thick and joint space is plentiful, this change is often tolerated without a single ache. But in aging joints, where space is already limited, that extra internal expansion translates into aching, stiffness, or deep discomfort. So no, you're not imagining it. Your joints are responding to the laws of physics. Remember, this video is for educational purposes only. Always talk with your healthcare professional before making changes to your physical routine, especially if you have had joint replacements, recent surgeries, or are managing chronic conditions. Inside every movable joint in your body is something called synovial fluid. Think of this as your body's natural, high-grade lubricant. In warm conditions, this fluid is thin, slippery, and incredibly efficient at allowing your bones to glide past each other without friction. But cold weather changes the very chemistry of that fluid. As temperatures drop, synovial fluid becomes more viscous. That's a scientific way of saying it gets thicker and slower. Let's use a mechanics analogy. Warm synovial fluid behaves like high-quality motor oil. It flows effortlessly. Cold synovial fluid behaves more like heavy axle grease. Grease still lubricates, but it requires much more force to get things moving. For a joint that already has thinner cartilage or narrower joint space, that extra resistance shows up as that heavy feeling in your legs or rusty knuckles in the morning. Next, we have to look at your blood flow. Your body has a built-in survival mechanism called vasoconstriction. When it detects cold, your brain makes a strategic decision. It narrows the blood vessels in your extremities, your hands, feet, knees, and hips, to pull that warm blood toward your core. It's trying to protect your heart and brain. This is brilliant for survival, but it's tough on your joints. Less blood flow means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching the tissues that need them. Cold, underfed tissues become angry tissues. They become stiff, less elastic, and much more sensitive to pain signals. So why does this hit harder now than it did 30 years ago? It comes down to three specific biological shifts. Cartilage loss. With age, the natural cushioning in our joints thins. There is simply less room to accommodate the tissue expansion caused by barometric changes. Circulatory efficiency. Our blood vessels aren't as springy as they once were, meaning the body takes longer to restore warmth to our joints once they get cold. Neurological sensitivity. Research suggests that as we age, our nervous systems can become more finely tuned to discomfort. Your brain registers a small pressure change as a significant pain signal. Cold weather doesn't necessarily cause new damage, but it is a master at revealing existing vulnerabilities. Understanding this shifts the conversation from "I'm falling apart" to "my body is giving me a signal that it needs a different strategy." We don't need expensive gadgets or miracle creams. We need to work with the physiology we just discussed. Pillar 1. Warm the joint, not just the room. Many people make the mistake of cranking up the thermostat in their house to 75 degrees, yet they still feel stiff. That's because your joints respond best to local warmth, not just the ambient air temperature. Instead of heating the whole house, think in microclimates. Targeted layering. Use wool or thermal sleeves specifically for your trouble joints. Keeping a knee warm with a sleeve does more for synovial viscosity than a warm room ever will. The morning heat load. Use a heating pad on a low setting for 10 minutes before you even get out of bed. You are literally melting that synovial grease back into oil before you put weight on it. Pillar 2. Circulation from within. Relief can also start in the kitchen. We can support vasodilation, opening those blood vessels back up, through what we eat. The protein effect. Digesting protein has a higher thermal effect than fats or carbs, meaning it slightly raises your core temperature from the inside out. Warming spices. Natural vasodilators like ginger, cinnamon, and turmeric aren't just for flavor. They help encourage blood flow to reach those distal joints in your fingers and toes. Hydration. We often forget to drink water in winter because we aren't sweating, but dehydrated blood is thicker and moves slower. Keep the oil flowing by staying hydrated. Pillar 3. The isometric jump start routine. On a cold morning, the worst thing you can do is static stretching, pulling on cold, stiff muscles. Instead, we use isometrics, engaging the muscle without moving the joint. Think of this like idling your car engine to warm it up before you drive. The seated quad squeeze. While sitting, simply straighten your legs slightly and squeeze your thigh muscle hard for 5 seconds. Relax and repeat. This pumps blood directly into the knee capsule without grinding the joint. The glute set. Squeeze your buttocks as hard as you can for 5 seconds, then release. This sends a wake-up call to the hips and lower back. The fist press. Press your palms together in a prayer position, engaging the muscles in your wrists and forearms. This prepares the small joints of the hands for the day's tasks. Cold weather doesn't have to mean a season of decline. It simply means your joints are asking for a different set of signals. They are asking for local warmth, internal circulation, and gentle, smart activation. Pain in the winter is not a sign of weakness. It is a piece of biological information. When we stop fighting the weather and start supporting our physics, we can move through the season with much more grace. Before you go, which joint gives you the most trouble when the first frost hits? Is it the knees, the hips, or the hands? Let us know in the comments. If you found this explanation helpful, consider subscribing for more calm, easy-to-understand information about pain and movement after 60. Take care of yourself, and thank you for watching.